Simon Guobadia, who we know as Portia's estranged husband, was working with Hulu on an original series called Simon Says Real Love, where he was detained by ICE. And ultimately, as we heard this week, he was deported to his home country of Nigeria. Now that he's out of ICE, he's determined to get his word out. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Hello, Amanda. Oh, I have a fun in real life story.
Hi, B. Hi, cocktailers. What is your in real life story?
So I don't think I said it on the pod, but a couple months ago, one of my very good friends texts me and she's like, B, my cousin is a cocktailer. And I'm like, what? So she tells me her Instagram handle. And you guys that DM me know, like, there's a lot of you guys that I talk to quite often.
Right.
So I immediately knew her Insta name. And then I was like, duh, it's my friend's maiden name, which isn't a common name, but I don't know. I know my friends and I are very close. So I probably was at parties with this woman, but since she doesn't live in our neighborhood, whatever. Long story short, I was like, that's so funny. So me and her cousin messaged, haha, how funny. So I had her son's communion party this week and she was there with her husband, and she met me, and then she met my husband, my brother, my sister-in-law. She's like, I feel like I'm meeting all the characters on the sitcom. My dad walked in dressed like $1,000,000 with his fancies. And of course he was late, and she's like, okay, I wanted to meet everybody. Your brother is as wild as pictured. All that, everything's lining up, but where is your dapper Don father? And in he walks, and it was so funny because he's like, you listen to that nonsense? And I'm like, say, Pop, it is not nonsense. I have actual people who are not related to us who listen. He was,
oh my God.
He was like very like proud and excited, but like wouldn't actually say that. He was just teasing us. And we had so much fun. And it was like meeting, like if I met any cocktail, like we were like that. We literally were hanging out the entire time, having cocktails, hysterically laughing. I was like, you want to see how the sausage is made? And I was showing her my DMs and answering them. It was so funny.
Oh, too funny. Well, I feel like she's my friend now too. I mean, all of
so hi, Lisa. We love you.
Yeah, Lisa, thank you for signing that NDA. Just kidding.
She's so cool and successful. And like, I was very flattered. She has a daughter. One of her daughters is a dermatologist and the other daughter is a psychiatrist.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know why that flattered me for us, because I was like, see, like we attract smart, really informed people.
I know. I gotta start thinking about what I need my kids to be. Like, one of them needs to be, like a dermatologist, plastic surgeon.
You know that dermatology is the hardest residency to get, which makes sense because of the fillers and everything now. But I think it like has been for a long time. Because
always, like, yeah. When my friend who lives in like many states away, or I would be talking about him more, but he and his wife met in med school and they both got dermatology, like went, and it's the most competitive because it's very highly paid, but you're not really on call. Like if you think about all the other kinds of doctors, you can like really have a very, like 9 to 5 life if that's what you're looking for.
And it's very lucrative. Like, yes, it's a classic 9 to 5. You, even before fillers and all that, which are obviously money makers, a lot of dermatologists always had their own like acne skincare line. Like I remember when I was a teenager, my friends that had acne used like their dermatologist stuff, like, so there's very impressive.
That's awesome. Hi, Lisa. Okay, so what a freaking crazy week, because I feel like we had so much to talk about when we recorded the pod last week. And then here we are. More has happened. I feel like more is going to, we're hearing there might be some other announcements later this week. So Lexi announced that she is also leaving Summer House. Rachel Zoe is joining Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which cocktailers already knew that she was in negotiations. Britt Eady was a no-show at the Atlanta reunion, which I believe we talked about that very briefly. But then, hours later, it was announced that Britt Eady, is suing Bravo for $20 million. We'll talk more about that in a minute. We also had shared a few weeks ago and then widely reported this week that Craig over from Southern Charm is single and no longer dating that girl Natalie that he was seeing. Brynn Whitfield officially announced her departure from Real Housewives of New York. I think her podcast is doing really well. And then she also has, I believe, helped found, but is the CMO of this dating app called Hoppy, which
a lot of people pointed out her name is Brynn. She has an app called Hoppy, and Bethany's daughter's name is Brynn Hoppy.
I know. I noticed that too. I think it's just a coincidence.
Yes, but I think so.
That seems to be doing really well. And then the blind that we had gotten about Monique returning to, is she going by Samuels? I don't know what her last is. Is she still going by her married name? Is returning to Potomac. So while I catch my breath from all of that, B, why don't you decide where we should start with all of this?
She is still going by Samuels on Insta.
Okay.
FYI. So I have to start with Atlanta because sadly, we are the bearers of bad news. I'm hearing that Nene is not making her return via traders. So it was speculated and rumors that Nene would be joining. This was months ago. There was a conversation going on. It's not happening. The cast of Traders leaves on Friday. So we're recording on Wednesday. I hear the cast announcement is next Tuesday. So bad news, good news. I'm hearing that Portia will be joining Traders. So it started as an anonymous email that was for cocktailers only. And we got a little bit of confirmation. So I do believe that Portia will be on. We also know that Phaedra is rumored to make an appearance. So that kind of all makes sense. Yeah. So do you want to read that email for people who are not cocktailers because they may have seen it?
So the email, the title is New Show, subject, or from New Show, subject RHOA, housewife potentially filming new show. And then it says, Portia made a request to appear virtually for an upcoming June 11th divorce hearing due to a time-sensitive international employment opportunity that would require her to be out of the country in June for an extended period of time.
Sounds like Portia. Also, Dorinda, who we know is on, said on her show, Reality Checks on Radio Andy, that she's going to be on vacation for 2 weeks. So that makes sense. I also know Margaret Josephs is not on this season, although she was rumored. Like, they throw a lot of names out there. I think she... Me too. I still have my fingers crossed for Mary Cosby. So when the official announcement is made on Tuesday, I'm calling Portia, Dorinda, appearance by Phaedra. I don't know if that'll be in the cast announcement. I'm calling Mary Cosby, hopefully. We heard Christine Quinn. We heard, you guys, when it comes to Survivor and Big Brother, I post those names, but they go in one ear and out the other because I've never watched those shows. But I have some crazy exclusive intel that we just got today and posted in Cocktail Party. So you're welcome, non-cocktailers.
Oh, yes.
Now, good. I'm going to preface this by saying, yes, it sounds wild that this man will be able to finish this show, but here it is. B, my source showed me a promo trailer that's going to be dropping, and it's definitely going to get people talking. Simon Guobadia, who we know as Portia's estranged husband, was working with Hulu on an original series called Simon Says Real Love, where he was detained by ICE. And ultimately, as we heard this week, he was deported to his home country of Nigeria. Now that he's out of ICE, he's determined to get his word out. I can tell you that there was a story I meant to share, and it was Simon, and he was with, I'm trying to think of her name. Sheree from Beverly Hills that was at one time married to Will Smith.
Right.
And they had a green screen behind them, and it was like him, a couple of producers, and her. Apparently, she's one of the producers on this show. Now,
are we being pranked? What?
Sheree Zampino. So I don't know. What I can tell you is somebody who's told me stuff before. Yeah. Like, it's a person who is in the know. Like,
Yeah.
they know people. I just don't know now that he has officially been deported if Hulu is going to be like, yeah, let's drop that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay, I gotta go. I gotta take it like 500 steps back and say, who was gonna do this? Like, who thought this was a good idea before he got deported?
Listen, could it be that Simon somehow weaseled his way onto a set with a green screen with Sheree Zampino, who is Will Smith's ex-wife, and took a picture with them and then produced a sizzle reel on his own that he showed to this source of mine? 100%.
That sounds a little more real to
It
me.
actually sounds like what it sounds like is he produced a sizzle reel, perhaps paid Sheree, because guess what? If you call me and you're like, hey, B, hey, Amanda, we're looking to make a podcast and we're probably going to be deported, but here's $20,000 for you guys to like help us create a podcast episode. You and I are going to be like, that sounds fine. Like,
Great.
Here's your help. Like, here it is. Here's your cassette tapes. Go on your way. Here's your USB drive. Here's your whatever. Go on your way and pitch it to networks. Like, I do believe that he probably produced and filmed something. Did Hulu pick it up? If they did, my jaw will drop, and this might be the best get of all time.
It's just, okay. Can't wait.
I love that I'm like believing it until I hear Amanda's reaction.
I saw it. I saw it going up on the site today, and I was like, wait, what?
Okay. Wait,
it's good. It's
now
good.
I absolutely have to now find the
DM?
The screen, not even the DM, the screenshot.
The screener. Oh, okay.
Did I screenshot it? I don't remember. I have to remember my follower's name.
Please, God.
Please, God, let it be true. He's got a really cool name, this source, too. He's very good looking. Oh, I found it. All right, here we go. Okay, so it's a screenshot on Simon's account, and it says 310 agent. It says, you know you mean business when you have Sheree Zampino doing interviews. Yeah, you mean business, all right. You mean I'm willing to pay. It's posted by a guy. His Insta name is 310 agent. His name is Ty Savette. He's a real estate investor explorer. He's the founder of Agent Soph LA, creator of VH1's Love and Listings, which I've never heard of.
Well, I think it's more likely that Simon is trying to get himself married. You know, he's got to get divorced from Portia first, but get married to somebody else as another play to stay in the U.S. That seems also more likely than women competing for his love on a reality show.
Exactly. I posted it so when people read that blind, I don't look like a complete wacko.
Oh my
But
God,
listen, obviously Sheree Zampino was involved in something. It could have. We know, like even the Chicago thing, it wasn't greenlit. It doesn't mean it won't be greenlit, but a group of people hired a production company to film a sizzle reel.
Yeah.
Right. So he hired Sheree Zampino and producers and pitched it to Hulu, and now told this guy, send it to Bravo and Cocktail.
I love it. Well, we'll just wait to see when that gets rolling. But about Portia and Simon, so, you know, you just mentioned Simon was released from ICE detention. He has been deported to Nigeria. That made me wonder how divorces work when one person has been deported. And, you know, my first thought was, does that just automatically grant Portia a divorce? And the answer is no. But that the divorce can still proceed even if one spouse has been deported. The deported spouse still does have rights to marital assets. And then obviously the way custody works is different. And they luckily don't have shared custody of any children. Because if there were custody involved, that would be different. They have to treat it like somebody has essentially just vanished, you know, or just abandoned the family. So anyway, it does not, I think him being deported will not stop Portia's divorce. But back to Britt Eady, because, well, we'll talk about it, but I want to talk a little bit about this lawsuit. So there is an email that we got that just says
right after she no-showed at the reunion, this right in our inbox. Yes,
literally, I think it was like when we were recording. Kenya was just suspended for her behavior, not officially done with Bravo. Similar to how Portia was demoted for a year after the reunion fight years ago. Britt is officially out for next season. No newbies for next season because Bravo knows that there's been too many ins and outs in the last few years on Atlanta. Season 16 goal is, and it says goal, Portia, Phaedra, Shamia, Angela, Kelly, Nene, with Cynthia and Kenya as friends. The goal is to bring old school season 6 vibes back, which was their highest rated season. And then it says later in the summer, season 17 of Atlanta will begin filming.
I mean, season 6 Atlanta may actually be the highest rated. I believe that Atlanta was like the highest rated in the whole Housewives world at one time.
You're right. Yeah.
So with that on top of mind, that it brought in the most money at one time, my question is, are they willing to shell out the budget to afford Portia, Phaedra, Kenya, and Nene? But listen, Kenya, a victory would be for her to get back on. I think that it was very surprising to everybody, herself included, that they really sat her out all season. Yeah. I think that now, when all this stuff has come to light, and as Amanda said, we're going to get into the details of the lawsuit and just Britt's behavior throughout the rest of the season, I think that the network, let's face it, Bravo is not a company like Price Waterhouse or, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
they can play by a different set of rules. And one of the rules that they can play by is like the fans generally didn't agree once they got to know Britt that Kenya should be out forever as a result. And so they can have her back now because there's not going to be any huge backlash. And Britt's already suing. So you know what, girl? You want to sue? Then we're just going to bring her back anyway. So I do believe we can see Kenya as a friend. I don't see any reason for Nene to be so generous and friendly with talking so highly about NBCU and Bravo and saying that everything's all good now, and even having Atlanta housewives like Kelly on her YouTube show. I see no reason for that if she's not back in the fold in some capacity.
Yeah.
And it may have been considered traitors at one time, but Kenya leaving and now what they're going to do with the cast may have played into that decision. They may have been like, scratch traitors, because if we're getting her back on season 17, we want her first appearance to be Atlanta. Like, they may have been doing traitors as a placeholder with the hope that maybe the next season they could bring Nene back in the fold. But then the game plan changed with everything, with Britt being a flop. And with this cast, like, Kelly and Angela and Shamia were well received.
Yeah.
But Britt kind of soured a lot. And yeah.
Well,
so
I wanted to briefly,
I hope Cynthia doesn't lose out, because I feel like in some ways Atlanta has used Cynthia and Sheree to a certain extent in the last couple of years as placeholders when needed. And I feel like anyone more vulnerable, it would be her and potentially Kelly. And I say that because they're going to want Angela with Nene, because Angela gives that old school vibe. And I feel like they're closer in the same age category.
I think, though, the hope with Kelly and Angela is they don't require the same paycheck as some of the other more seasoned housewives. I will say, and you're going to be really shocked by this, so like hold on to your desk. I watched Shannon Bedora and Drew Sidora were on Watch What Happens Live, and I loved Drew that night. Did you get a chance to watch the whole thing?
I did.
I loved her. She was shady. She was funny. She sang. Drew. Yes. She was. I was like, who is this person that we never see? The person that we see on camera, I kind of hate, but you guys know, I don't really love her on that show, but she was great on Watch What Happens Live. So I think it's interesting that her name was not brought up, but I'm not surprised by that.
Well, listen, it's too late for Drew. And this is the thing. Unfortunately, not every platform is for everybody. And so she was great on Watch What Happens Live. And she reposted her, like, resume. And she has a very impressive resume. And she is a successful actress. And that's a great lane for her. But
Yeah.
Housewives just didn't click for her for whatever reason. I think in large part she was going through a really hard time, and she's used to being a scripted actress and having to kind of show Ralph. It's hard to go from a scripted actress to reality TV. And I think she tried to hide things, and it just made her seem inauthentic right from the beginning. And then when her marriage ultimately fell apart, we had already, like, the fans had already lost her. Like, she had already lost us. Like, we were kind of like, we don't believe you though.
Yeah. I bet production, if anybody that's listening does production, I'm sure they're all like, yes, this is exactly the Drew that we loved and why we cast her, and it just didn't work on the show. All right, so I want to briefly explain the Britt Eady lawsuit. She is suing Bravo, NBC, and 2 production companies, True Original and Endemol Shine North America. She's alleging defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false light, sexual harassment, and hostile work environment, all related to the incident when Kenya showed pictures that were allegedly of Britt engaging in, say, XXX actions. Because Kenya was working for Bravo, Britt is also suing under the legal doctrine respondeat, I don't know if I'm saying that right, superior, which holds employers responsible for wrongful conduct by their employees. In the suit, Britt says the images weren't her and that she repeatedly requested to see the images, but didn't see them until after the event was aired on Bravo nearly a year later. She says Bravo falsely yet unmistakably implied it was her in the BJ pic. She is asking for the immediate removal of the episode from public access from all platforms, networks, media outlets. She's also asking for a public statement acknowledging that the episode shared a false depiction of Britt. And she's, of course, asking for $20 million in damages and to cover her legal fees. So it's saying that Bravo, she claims that Bravo knowingly contributed to a hostile work environment and sexually harassed her by subjecting her to unwelcome, offensive, and sexualized behavior on comments by requiring her to show up for work after she experienced what she called a gendered attack. So here is my thought, because I am always the first one to admit I have a hard time sometimes separating my dislike for somebody. And in this case, it is hard because I don't care for her. But imagine if the pictures weren't actually her. That would change everything in my mind. Like, what an awful thing to go through if that is the case. I definitely don't think Bravo would do that on purpose. But why wouldn't they show her the pictures the first time she asked? If that's true. If what she is claiming is true.
What I'm confused about. Let's say it wasn't her, like, face and somehow it was blurred out, but when she saw it, she's like, I have a birthmark on my left side. That's not me. That's not, we all know our own bodies, where obviously Bravo probably isn't intimately acquainted with what she looks like nude. Although the audience is now.
But I would imagine.
Because she stripped down in the most recent episode.
Right. But I would imagine if she's going to make these claims as part of a big lawsuit, then she knows that she's got to prove it, right? The burden of proof is on her to prove that it is not her.
Okay, so here's the thing. Correct. But I'm a one-season wonder. I know I'm out. I am angry. I am hearing that Kenya is back in the fold. Kenya is posting that you'll see her soon. Mm-hmm. And I saw the pictures. And as far as I'm concerned, they can't really prove those pictures are me. And I could try, because I could find a lawyer and I could try, because best case scenario, Bravo just says, you want 20? Here's $750,000 and don't ever talk to me again. Bravo isn't ever talking to her again anyway. So it could be a complete money grab that ultimately gets dismissed. Because Bravo is so smart, and especially after they've been sued by Leah McSweeney and Caroline Manzo and all these people, they're well equipped to know these things. So why wouldn't they show her the picture?
I don't know. I just, in my head, there's that little doubt. And I'm like, if what she is saying is true, like, that would be life and reputation ruining. Like, can you, because I'm put myself in, if that were something like that were to happen to me, like, I guess I need to move to Nigeria with Simon.
How does she prove that she asked to see the picture? What if she never asked?
Here's the thing, Britt, like, if you
But
better be
Bravo's
honorable.
attorney is going to be like, show us the email where you put a request in writing, because anything verbal, obviously, we can't prove. It's he said, she said. So where did you request this? And why did you show up for filming if your request was denied?
I don't know. There is a kernel of doubt that is like, if what she is saying is true, that is awful. I know.
I would like to say, though, and I'm just going to say, I just find it humorous that someone who is so offended by pictures has a couple shots of tequila and is butt naked, literally butt naked. Looked beautiful, by the way. I have nothing. If you want to be butt naked on TV, that is totally your prerogative. But it's kind of like humorous to me, no? That like this is the same person who has this.
Right. Yeah.
I get it, right? Because she was consenting to that. Of course, I get it. And it's not like, oh, women are allowed to do what they want with their bodies, obviously. But it's kind of humorous. You're not dealing with like a buttoned up sort of person. I don't know.
Right. Maybe
you don't do that on camera?
I don't know. It's all messy.
Because the scandal was already out there. So I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not the fun kind of messy.
Again, it's hard
going
to separate, but.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So on to Real Housewives of New York. We are getting quite a bit of tea about it.
So Brynn announced her departure. And in my head, I said, well, usually you announce your departure on or around the time contracts go out. It's entirely possible that with her podcast and her app, she just figured like, all right, I'm out. So let me just get some press and put this out there. Maybe people will tune in, download my app, whatever. So we see her announcement and my head goes there. The idea of finally getting off the ground with RHONY is exciting to me. I think you guys all know Amanda and I love it, even though people complain.
Yes, not everybody agreed.
And we had heard weeks ago that they were test filming and that they were in the final rounds of hiring a couple weeks ago. So although when they would be filming isn't something that I know, Brynn's announcement signals that we'll be hearing about a cast sooner or later. Maybe BravoCon, is that too far away? I don't know. But we get this email a few minutes after she announces her departure. RHONY 15, expect Uba's announcement next. She's riding off into the sunset now that she is engaged on her own accord. We had also told you guys that Uba wouldn't be back. Erin, Jessel, Sai, Raquel, all expected to return with 3 newbies, 1 well-known, full-time / friends.
And in that email, because I think you forgot to say it out loud, Jenna was in that email too, I think.
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah, she was. Jessel, Sai, Jenna, Raquel, and 3 newbies.
And Erin, yes. Okay, so...
Why do I keep leaving one person?
It's okay. I got you. We keep getting flooded with questions about Lindsay Hubbard. Is she the well-known newbie joining Real Housewives of New York?
So this is not confirmed, guys, but I am hearing that it is a well-known Peloton star is one of them. So I don't know if she's the well-known one. Again, that is not confirmed. I just am hearing things. We know a lot of people were in talks. So obviously it could be somebody else.
Okay, so we are talking about well-known Peloton star, RHONY.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if that's true. But unfortunately, regarding Lindsay, this source keeps saying, like, it's not happening. It was never a consideration. I know that we keep seeing her interact. Even yesterday, Erin and Jessel posted a picture of them cheersing champagne, which to me meant we sign our contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay commented and they commented back. She's clearly friends with them. It's something the fans want, but for whatever reason, they're not doing it. I stand by my theory that Lindsay will be making appearances on Summer House this season. And I do think we're getting a Summer in the City spinoff. Let's see what that looks like. You know, we said before anything was rumored that Paige was bigger than this. But Paige has openly said, like, I love being on TV. And I don't know about any spinoff. I'll read it before you do. I'll read it when you do. Like, in other words, like the network, like she's not leaving NBCU. She thanked them and everything. So Amanda is blowing up her bathing suit line just dropped. Looks incredible. Paige's pajama line with the name Daphne. We love her cat's name.
Mm-hmm.
They're all leveling up. We want to see it. I am so happy to see, especially Amanda, doing something outside of Loverboy. Lindsay has such a full life. She's got the Airbnb in Nashville. They can do a girls trip there. A million brand deals. We can see her going to meetings. Obviously, life with her baby. People love to focus on like, oh, but the baby can't be filmed and the dad, she's not with the dad. Like, who cares? Lindsay, if anybody's interesting enough on their own, it's Lindsay.
Yeah.
You guys want to know, will Hannah be there? I can't really see Hannah coming on full time. I can see her taking a check to meet Paige for lunch, If it was a more controlled environment and maybe her and Paige were executive producers, I don't know. All things are possible. I certainly think that Ciara would make appearances. So
yeah. Well, there was that other piece of tea that I texted you about last night because we got some info about a famous Peloton instructor.
Yes.
Having successful negotiations to join the show. So we're hearing, well, not we, I'm reading in the comments that it's either Tunde or Robin. So I texted you last night. We won't say which, but I will say this. If it is Tunde, because I'm a Peloton rider, she's amazing. And like her classes are really hard. I would be interested to see how she does because she seems kind of no drama.
Yes.
So
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm really curious to see if she would actually get into the fray. So we'll see.
Listen, I think the thing about it is if you join the show and you agree to it, you have to be willing to get in the fray. And I have a Peloton. I've taken all their classes. How do we really know she's not into the drama? Like, nobody's going to act like that on the actual bike.
No, I know. But, like, you can see, I could see Cody Rigsby getting right in.
Why, yeah. That is
who I love.
I love.
Definitely.
Did I ever tell you I didn't know he was gay?
Really?
Well, so I started.
This reminds me of the day that I texted you because Tracy asks me.
Oh my God. This is so. Did we ever talk about that? I think we did.
Did we talk about it? I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to tell my Cody and then you're going to tell everybody what you texted me.
Okay.
So I get the Peloton and I take Cody's class and I'm like, go upstairs and I'm to my husband. This was like COVID. We got the bike in COVID like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that Cody, what a cutie. I have a crush on him. And my husband's like, okay. And I'm like, what? Like thinking he's jealous. He's like, well, I have some bad news. And I'm like, what? He's like, he's gay. I'm like, he is? And he laughs because he's like, you have the worst, like I just never know. But somebody has worse gaydar than me. And it is.
Yeah, to be into this, I was just Tracy's mouthpiece.
This is great. By the way, it was like happy hour and I was out with like a couple of friends having a couple of cocktails and we were literally like rolling on the floor.
So Tracy texted me. I'm like, sometimes when somebody asks you a question, you're like, gosh, I don't know. I thought something. And she asked me, she was like, is Larry from Bravo by Gays gay? And I was like, I'm pretty sure he is. But she's like, oh, I can't remember what it was that she said. She was like, because he on his podcast or on our podcast mentioned something, my girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I just thought he meant like my girlfriend, like I would call
me,
like you, my girlfriend. Right. Yeah. And I was like, let's text B. I'm wondering.
I think I actually called you guys on three-way and I was like, are you guys kidding? His handle is Bravo by Gays. So then I immediately text Larry, who's dying. I'm like, and
you call your husband.
I called my husband. Well, because my husband's hung out with Larry a couple of times. I called Larry, and then after I made all those calls, I get a text from Amanda like, by the way, don't mention it to Larry. I don't want to make things awkward. I'm like,
sorry, Larry.
Like, Have you, by the way, Larry was at the Miami premiere yesterday, and I'm like,
Oh, he was.
who did you hang with? He's like, I'm besties with Larsa. I was like, Larry, bye. Like, what? Larsa?
Really? Oh, I have so many questions for him.
I know. We have to have it on again soon. I miss him.
We do. I know. We haven't had him. Okay. Anyway. How did I even... Oh, we got on this topic with Cody. Okay. So back to our usual bullshit. We did also get some tea a few weeks ago, or gosh, a while ago, about Real Housewives of Potomac. And we just got confirmation on that Monique is coming on. But when we got the blind, we weren't really clear if it was Monique or Candace, because if you'll remember, at the same time, we saw Candace posting on Instagram, like, I think with a glass of champagne
At
and
NBC
a corporate
News
setting.
student.
Yeah, in a corporate setting. So it was confirmed that Monique is returning, and we got a DM with some more Potomac intel that was only for cocktailers, but we will share this with you guys. And it said, Monique is not the only one returning. It's their 10th anniversary season. Plus, without Karen, they're trying to make sure it's a good season.
So since, I don't know, something about Monique and Candace returning at the same time doesn't seem like it makes sense.
I agree.
You know, given that huge altercation, Monique was basically put on pause after that. I don't see Candace coming in as a new mom and wanting to deal with that mess. Is it Robin? Possibly. I hope it's not Charisse. Like, oh, what a bore. People ask Katie, but if anyone has followed Katie on social, she doesn't seem to be doing
Not
well.
in a good place.
We wish her the best, but she doesn't seem to be in a good place. Her mental health doesn't seem great. So,
Robin would make a lot of sense to me.
but we also had an email about a scandalous affair. And you know, when I got this email, I couldn't help but was this an email or a DM? No, this was a DM, excuse me. I couldn't help but remember that ahead of filming, Potomac loves to put things out there via bravoandcocktails.com. I don't know. I'm not saying Potomac likes to. I'm saying people who know them like to, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, we do.
You'll remember Peter Thomas, when there was stuff going on with him, we had all that intel, and then it was discussed on the show. You'll remember that when Giselle was first seeing Jason from Winter House, we had all that intel. It was discussed on the show. We love being a part of the script. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. So this one was a cocktail exclusive that we will share. The housewife that we just heard is returning for the show's 10th season was fired from the radio station she was working at. She was allegedly having an affair with one of her coworkers, who has also since been fired. The coworker thought he struck gold because she had a rich, soon-to-be ex-husband. But the former NFL soon-to-be ex-husband won that divorce settlement. So the returning housewife couldn't be his sugar mama and pay his child support if he left his wife. So I take that to mean he didn't leave the wife.
Right. Well, I always liked Monique on the show, but back in the day, there were rumors about her cheating when she was married to Chris. I think there were, like, they even talked about it a little bit on the show, that she had been messing around with a trainer. I really think when there's that much smoke, we know there's fire. So it seems like the shoe fits in this case.
100%.
So Rachel Zoe coming to Beverly Hills. Cocktailers knew that she was in talks, and another thing confirmed. This feels very validating for us.
It does.
This week.
But you want to know what I have to tell you? And I really don't go on Twitter because I don't really have a presence there, but I sometimes just scroll, the doom scroll at night. People love to highlight, if somebody's name is on the Traders Cast and we didn't mention it, it's like Bravo and Cocktails didn't know this. It's like, all right, bitch, what about the other 10 things we got right this week?
Well, also, people have free will, or people have other things that come up and things change in the last minute. So, guys, if you look at our record, it's pretty dang good.
I will say, Rachel Zoe, I did not see mentioned they were very tight-lipped. I got that intel. I posted it at about 8:30 in the morning, and the next day she came out. So I did not see her name in the mix at all, other than in Cocktail Party, which is why we timestamped everything so nobody can say that we didn't have it because it's timestamped. Her announcement was like a live video, so there's a timestamp on that and a timestamp on us saying we heard she's in negotiations, and nobody else had that. So that's why we timestamped, because you want to be petty, we could be petty.
But bam.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm excited. I really loved her show when it was on. She came up through the fashion world as a stylist. So she was stylist for Kate Hudson and Gwyneth Paltrow and all kinds of celebrities. And, she's definitely kooky, and she's a little bit in La La Land, but she's also really funny and very much a girl's girl, which I think is going to make for a great housewife. What I think is very interesting, and, we've seen even in the tea that we got from the person saying, the divorce from Roger, I think was tough, but on the show, he was such an integral part of her life. So I am very interested to see how her life works and what is going on and what's keeping her busy these days. So bring it on, Beverly Hills. Can't wait.
Okay, I feel like I'm going to get yelled at for admitting this, but I honestly vaguely remember her show. I'm not a huge fashion girl, and I was less of one back then. I think I'm much more, we've discussed this, like as you get older, it takes more to look good. So I definitely, well, it's true.
It's
like
true.
When I was in my 20s, I could tell you a very funny story. When I was like college age, I had this denim skirt that I really liked and I wore it a lot. And also I was a poor college student and I would change the tops, but I would, I lived at home with my parents and I would wash the denim skirt and I would wear it out. And one night I went to this bar that we went to all the time. And the bouncer said to me, "You're wearing that skirt again?" What? I was like, what? How dare you? So that goes to show you. So for me, I'm certainly excited because she's a big name and I know people love her, but I don't remember her that well. For some reason, when I heard it, I thought immediately, I hope it doesn't give Becky Minkoff. And what I mean by that is this big name person in the fashion world that sort of doesn't reveal much. And again, because I don't remember her show that well, I don't know if and it was a different time, and I do hear that her divorce was very expensive, which was a big factor in her agreeing to do the show. And that just kind of makes sense.
It does.
Or maybe it's a new chapter too. I'm moving on. Let me try something new. She was with Raj for what, 20 something years?
Oh, a long time. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, they kind of did build everything together. So I can imagine that it would have been expensive. What I think will be interesting is she always had this I don't know how to say it without making it sound bad. She always had this slightly bitchy edge to her.
Yes.
Not mean, but just slightly bitchy edge, which I also always love, kind of like a Stassi a little bit, but not, I don't know, a little less. I really like
It's
her.
an edge that Beverly Hills women have, I feel.
We'll see. Yeah.
Very specific bitch. There's the Beverly Hills bitch.
Yeah. I don't see her being a pushover to everybody. And I don't, so we'll see what happens. I am very curious about what her life is now, and hopefully we'll see that she's dating and how all that works.
Oh, yes. We will see. I'm excited. I'm excited for another season of Beverly Hills. I always enjoy it. We love you guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I don't always say it, but I know that there are a million podcasts to listen to. Every day there's another new one. So the fact that you guys loyally tune into us every week never goes unnoticed, and we really do appreciate each and every one of you.
We very much do. And guys, one little, we'll call it an Easter egg. Just keep an eye on the website in the next, week or two. Just going to leave it at that. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.